every people has the right to be protected as a people. I was saying they have a right to have a state. So back then this was a people. Israel has had a state, the Palestinians have not a state.
Before what happened in Gaza, you were reporting as it happening in West Bank also, so it's not the first time for you to have a big state.
I'm treated as a drug dealer, as a terrorist for writing a report.
You describe Israeli state as apartheid.
Problem is that it's applied selectively. Member states cherry pick. Yes, sanctions to this but not to that. Impunity to this but not to that. It doesn't work like that. Secretary General Kofi Annan used to call us the crown jewels of the United Nations.
Power delay justice, but it does not erase it.
That's right. I like it. Generally male have communicated forcefully their views, trying to teach me how to do this mandate. You know, the keffiyeh and the knots, everyone is a knot, and by uniting, by extending our arm to the other, we make a net. And this is it's powerful, huh? This is the net we need to move ahead as a humanity.
International laws sound powerful. Convictions, courts, resolutions, but does law restrain power? Or does power decide when law applies? Tonight is not a debate. It's not an examination. How does UN mandate actually work? What qualify as a crime legally? Before we judge the system, we need to understand it. Welcome to Jordan, Ms. Francesca.
Shukran.
How is your trip so far in Jordan?
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Overwhelming in terms of how much love and affection I've been showered with. So really from before arriving here to this very moment, I've been filled with authentic appreciation and love. So I want to thank the people who have embraced me so warmly, all the Palestinians, the Palestinian lawyers, and the survivors to Israeli jails who are meeting me these days, and with great pain, because this is why I'm here to to complement my report, the next report I'm presenting to the Human Rights Council. And also I want to thank the Jordanian government, because I've received all the support I could imagine for this visit, which was not easy, given the pressure and
everything is going
circumstances.
around. Okay. Before you become a UN Special Rapporteur, when was the first time you saw Palestine, not a headline, it's a cause, or something can make you from inside moved?
For Italians, Palestine has always been something very close to our heart, because, at least for my generation, we had a president of the Republic, but also politicians from across all the political spectrum that were very strong, very vocal about the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination. And particularly our president of the Republic back then, because he was a partisan himself, he had fought against Nazi fascism to liberate Italy, so he was from the resistance, and he said every people has the right to be protected as a people. He was saying they have a right to have a state. So back then this was a people who Israel has had a state, the Palestinians have not a state yet. So this was the language used back then in the 80s. And we were very close to Palestine, as politically, to Palestinians to Palestinians in refugee camps, for example. I remember when I was a child, my older brother was at university, and he had a friend from Jordan, from a refugee camp. And now he's a famous architect here in Jordan. Nice. And I've met so many Palestinians like this across my life. People with degrees in engineering, in law, in medicine. So,
but when
in a way, yes,
headline for you,
it became it stopped being
just a headline.
It's never been an headline. This is what I would like to say. But it became something else, like where I really felt that it was much bigger than I had ever thought in 2005 when I went to the School of African and when I went to SOAS, the School of Oriental and African Studies in London, and I studied particularly the so-called Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and I realized that in fact the story of Palestine is a story of colonization that comes from afar, and I learned what has happened to Palestinian refugees, and also I started to understand it from how international law is important to litigate the case of Palestine, precisely against power.
I have a question that I heard you in one of the interviews that Palestinian is naming you that the human shield for them. But in which cost? In which cost for you to become the public legal voice for them?
No, Palestinians are very, very gentle. They call me our hero, and I feel so embarrassed because it's very interesting. But the Palestinian people have a generosity that it's typical of the region. Because I also live in an Arab country. I've been living in Arab countries, and the Arab people are very general and friendly and open. But the Palestinian people have this, even those in Gaza. I've been talking to people in Gaza who have survived horrors and they're still going through horrors and say, we are so sorry for you, for what's happening to you because of us. Or you talk to other Palestinians and say, what can we do for you? I say, really? You shouldn't be worried about me. So these are the terms of the discussions. But it's coming at a great cost. Probably,
you, threats, your family,
it's an incredible pressure. We have not had a tranquil day in years. But it's not just, it's because the genocide has entered our life so deeply. So it's not just me. My own husband, who's a very sensitive person, since we have had trouble sleeping since the beginning of the genocide, not because of the threats against us, because of the genocide, for us it's painful, like for millions of people in the world, it's painful to see what the people in Gaza are going through, what the people in the West Bank and East Jerusalem are going through. It's also very personal because we lived in Jerusalem. I went to Gaza several times. It becomes also not personal because we have lived there, but it's personal because we are parents and see other children treated like that or suffering like that. It's really painful.
It's painful and harmful, but between everyone.
Yeah, there is a personal cost, of course.
There is a personal cost for that title, especially for you, because you are an advocate. You are one of the main advocates for the Palestinian rights. You don't fear anything. You just out loud it. So this for sure, and everyone know that it's becoming with a cost. Not only for you, that I believe that people think that you are working alone, but you have a team. But I'm sure that even your
we
team,
are all volunteers.
Yeah,
I'm volunteer, and I have a team of researchers who change every 6 or every 12 months, and I have. The Office of the High Commissioner, of course, supporting me. But the thing is that, of course, the cost is huge. But special rapporteurs are experts in international law in given domains, but we are at heart human rights defenders.
Exactly.
We are chosen also because of our capacity to bring forward a human rights cause. It's not about the Palestinian cause. For me, it's not a political issue. For me, it's a legal issue, and it's a justice. It's an issue of justice denied for a century. Enough.
The main question is that even we are saying that, okay, Palestine and the headlines of Palestine, but you are being on the headlines like every day. There is a lot of backlashes. There is a lot of rumors around you, and it's not to be honest, it's for everyone. It's not easy life. Like, what's behind that? How you feel? You are very strong. That we thank God that you are part of that Palestinian rights and voice. But at the end, you feel your team, and I'm sure your team has some felt some threats. Some it's not easy on them. Your family for sure. How's your life going from 2022? How's things changed for you from that time?
Look, I wouldn't say that it's easy, personally. Of course, it takes a toll. And at the same time, I would like to say that there are countless people who stand in solidarity with the Palestinians, against the occupation, against the apartheid, and now against genocide. And it includes, Palestinians in the diaspora. It includes Jewish people. It includes others. And it's very difficult to see them, to have them visible, because especially in the global north, there is a silencing or a stigmatization of anyone who tries to defend the rights of the Palestinian people under occupation or the rights of the refugees. And it's been tough to be the one in the spotlight, but because I have a platform that others don't have, and I assumed it. So the moment, when there was the first attack, I remember I had planned to go to the West Bank and East Jerusalem in December 2022. And there was the first smear campaign, which was vicious, that I was anti-Semitic. I will not go into details, but it was Israeli scholars, the first, and some Jewish scholars from abroad who came to me and said, because they had sought my advice and my help to counter already years ago this instrumentalization, this weaponization of the legitimate struggle against anti-Semitism to cover up for Israel. And so I was in touch with them for this, and they were the proponent of the Jerusalem Declaration of Anti-Semitism, which is in fact protective of the Palestinian struggles, the BDS, etc., and says anti-Semitism is the hate or hatred against the Jews, has nothing to do with criticism of Israel per se. And they told me, welcome to the system. Now you have two choices. If it's painful, you step back and you protect yourself. But if you are strong enough, keep your head straight, keep your back straight, you have done nothing wrong, and just defend what is just. And this is what I've done through and through. And there are so many moments in which I've had the gentle hand of the Palestinians on my shoulder saying, Habibti, we're sorry. And in all this, there has been, because the Palestinians feel that I'm taking a lot on myself because of them. But it's not because of them. I keep on saying, I'm not fighting your fight. It's that your struggle is a universal struggle. And I mean it, because human rights are universal.
Exactly.
It means that something that is true for me must be true for you or for anyone living under occupation or in Sudan or in Congo or in Myanmar. And if it's not, it means that these rights are not truly universal. And this is the struggle of our time.
Struggle that we all need to share that. We all, if it's good, we all need to share it. If it's bad, we all need to fix it.
That's right.
So I will move on directly to a lot of people. They know Francesca Albanese, the main advocate for Palestinian, but they know the title that you are the UN Special Rapporteur, but no one know what does really you do. What is the title? What behind this title? What is the mechanism? How it's you are working? You mentioned something. Even me, I don't know that everyone is volunteer between you and the team. But people are thinking that you are part of the UN, like you are not an expert or consultant. So if you can explain
No,
to
I'm not
us,
a consultant. I'm an expert.
Yeah, if you can explain to
yes,
us.
sure. So there are 54, 55 special rapporteurs or independent experts or working groups, and they are eminent experts in their own domain. So normally they are legal scholars or practitioners. I had before becoming a special rapporteur, I had published significantly about Palestinian refugees in international law, the question of Palestine, and worked for years for the United Nations, the human rights system, and then UNRWA. So I had a critical expertise, and as a human rights legal expert, I had a variety of hats, meaning I knew the UN system, the human rights system, I knew Palestine and the legal aspects of the question of Palestine, so it was quite unique. And so there was a competition. Of course, I had to offer my availability when my predecessor, at the end of the six-year term, Professor Michael Link left this position. So when the Human Rights Council appointed me in April 2022 to do what? To serve on this mandate, which was created in 1993, to document and report on the violations of international law committed by Israel in the occupied Palestinian territory, in the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem. Because back then, as the occupying power, Israel was and is the main authority responsible for the respect of the right of the occupied population, which is not what Israel has done. Israel has betrayed international law, it violated international law through and through. And so I write 2 reports per year on what I observe, on the facts.
It's about observations, fact, evidence, and everything.
I should go to the West Bank, is Jerusalem and Gaza twice a year.
And this was my next question.
And I'm
how
prevented.
You do it? And you are banned to do it.
But so, and in the reports, I make recommendations. This is not a paid position. It's a very prestigious. When we travel to countries, we have meetings at the ministerial level. So it's a very well-established position within the United Nations system. But it's unpaid to protect the true independent voice. So we do not represent the United Nations per se. We are part of the United Nations, but with our independent voice. Secretary General Ban Ki-moon used to say, "You are the eyes and ears of the human rights of the UN system for human rights." And Kofi Annan, Secretary General Kofi Annan, used to call us the crown jewels of the United Nations, and I do feel it. And then, of course, there are people in the UN who are more embracing of our role, others that are more human rights allergic, and it's okay.
Sure.
This is life.
This is the life, and this is the geopolitics things and the independency. It's where you can navigate everything. But again, as you said, that you need to visit twice a year. How you do?
I've not been able to enter the occupied Palestinian territory because I've been declared persona non grata by Israel during the first smear campaign against me in 2022. But this has been the case for my predecessor, Professor Michael Link, Professor Richard Falk. And, it's been difficult, but I've made a good use of technology. Also, I have visited, I'm grateful to the Jordanian government who has always extended full cooperation to me to carry out my work without any interference. Once I was able to go to Egypt. This time I was not allowed. So you see, things are different. So this is why I'm saying, when I say I'm grateful to the Jordanian government, I mean it, because after I was sanctioned, things changed toward me.
Changed, and it's becoming very difficult for you to do your job.
More difficult.
It's more and more.
But it means it doesn't mean that this is what I would like people to understand. It's becoming more difficult, but I'm up for the task and I deliver top-notch report anyway. So this is what I'm here for, ascertaining facts, producing strong legal analysis, and make recommendations for member states to comply with international law and protect the Palestinian people. They must be protected.
How you maintain independence amid all the geopolitical things? I know that there is a lot of interference, some people fight, even calling you, some pushing you, backlashes.
Yeah, I mean,
How you keep that independence?
there is a pulling and pushing from many sides. I mean, the first years, my interaction with member states was very interesting because you shouldn't underestimate what it means to be the first woman on this position. It's one of definitely the most difficult mandates of the 55 that are there, and it's very interesting to see how sometimes member states, through their officials, generally male, have communicated forcefully their views, trying to teach me how to do this mandate.
You are doing very good for now.
It didn't work.
But, okay, let's go for your reports. You were among the first officials to use the term genocide. What does that term legally mean when you decided to say this is genocide? It's based on what?
First of all, I would like to say that I was the first UN person to more extensively report on the genocide, but I was not the first one to think I would use the term, because I had other special rapporteurs who alerted me, especially from the Global South. Francesca, you need to look into these. The statements that Israeli ministers are making are genocidal. And my mind, as a European, didn't want to get there. For a few weeks, I opposed a mental resistance to say, no, it's not the same, we cannot say that. And then I paused and I say, what am I doing? I'm putting my identity and probably my bias ahead of the comprehension of what international law says. So let's sit and let me look again seriously at what intentional destruction of a group as such means. I spoke with genocide survivors themselves and professors of international law or others who had been writing extensively about genocide, and without anyone really giving me the answer, is it genocide or not? In 2 weeks, by reading, talking to people, going back to study, I realized that there was a serious risk that was a genocide. And because the Genocide Convention speaks of prevention, of a duty to prevent, this is why, together with other rapporteurs, already by the end of October, or mid-October even, end of October, I sounded the alarm, and by mid of November, we were saying it appears that there is a genocide unfolding, and then I documented acts of genocide, and I concluded that Israel was committing acts of genocide.
Just for people to know that this is not your first out loud strong words. In 2022, when you started your position, you described Israel's state as apartheid regime. Before what happened in Gaza, you were reporting as what happening in the West Bank also. So it's not the first time for you to have a big statement. So, do you reconsider sometimes your tone under pressure, or this is it, this is what's happening, I need to be clear about it?
I would like you and others to understand that I'm not using slogans.
Exactly.
I mean, I use terms that are legal. I use apartheid in a legal meaning. It was my predecessor to denounce within the UN system the apartheid system that Israel has put in place. Michael Link wrote his last report in March 2022, documenting why it was apartheid. He had changed his mind throughout the mandate. He said that I was not convinced, and now I think it's real. And he analyzed acts and intentions and impact of Israel's inhumane acts against the Palestinians and said it's apartheid, joining Palestinian human rights organizations and Palestinian scholars and other scholars, and even Israeli human rights organizations like B'Tselem or Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch. They had already reported on apartheid. And legally, we don't use these terms easily. We are not sensationalists, but when we do, it's because we have analyzed the facts. And keeping a racial segregation-oriented system with intent to dominate another group by committing inhumane acts, this is what apartheid is. And what I said in 2022 was that Israel was intentionally violating the law of self-determination, the right of self-determination of the Palestinian people, preventing the Palestinians to determine themselves politically, culturally, economically, and so preventing them to enjoy the right to exist as a people, which is then what was also used in the ICJ proceedings for the advisory opinion on the illegality of the occupation, which is, you know that the International Court of Justice has declared the occupation unlawful because it breaches the right of self-determination of the Palestinian people, and because it violates Article 2 of the UN Charter. So it's a form of aggression, and Israel, the court has ordered, must withdraw the occupation totally and unconditionally. The troops, the settlements, its exploitation of Palestinian resources, and allow those who have been displaced from 1967 onward to go back. So, you know, it's immense what the court has said. Do you see member states following?
No.
I mean, this is the thing. We have international law, and it's not applied.
Well,
And this is a world disease.
This is exactly my next question: is international law that weak, or it's selectively applied?
No, the law is not weak nor strong. I mean, the law is what it is, and it's the problem is that it's applied selectively. Member states cherry pick, as if it was like Michael Link used to say, a menu à la carte. Yes, sanctions to this, but not to that. Right. Impunity to this, but not to that. It doesn't work like that. This is what creates
Balancing
lawlessness.
If the international laws should balance everything, make the rule for the whole world. So if we are just selective, how's people is gonna feel?
Bezabbet.
Okay.
Discriminated.
So it's discriminated, but with all the reports that you see and you still see that the international law is not applied, how does that make you feel?
That we need to work harder.
You need to work harder, more.
Of course. I mean, especially in certain parts of the world, the one I come from, where I am part of the generation who still had a welfare state. I grew up in a place where education was for free, and it's still for free, but the quality is decreasing. Hospitals were for free, and so access to justice guaranteed. In the last 20, 25 years, things have changing. So the new generation feels the pressure of the lack of rights, the lack of basic rights, not only economic, social, and cultural rights, but also civil and political rights, because Palestine, for example, is a litmus test. There has been so much repression, so much silencing, so much beating of young people or elderly people, ordinary citizens who were peacefully protesting against the genocide. We realize it's okay, it's not just about Palestine, it's about ourselves. And this is why I was telling at the beginning, you remember, this is testing the universality of rights. Yes. And in the face of genocide, it's pretty serious. It's not any crime. It's the erasure of a group as such. It's the destruction of a group as such. This is what Israel is doing.
Yeah.
And we need to stop it for Palestinians, for Israelis, and for ourselves.
It's part of your job within the international law that even if it's just selectively applied, does it mean that we need to stop working? The documentation and the reports, it's always preserve the future of accountability. Like there is some quote, I don't remember, but I heard it that power delay justice, but it does not erase it. So
That's right. I like it.
yeah, this is part of your job that, okay, we can't just stop and say, okay, international law is selectively applied. We don't need to do it. It's fine. Let's go. No need for reports. No, we need to do that. We need to maintain our work. As you said, that we need to work for the future. We need to force the documentations. So one day we can make people accountable for what they did and to have a brighter future. But in your last book, you said something, and when the world sleeps, you argue that international law has failed. What kind of failure we are witnessing? What the failure from your point of view?
This is a $1 million question because there is so much to say.
Is it legally, politically, moral?
Everything you just said. It's a political failure. It's a legal failure. What haunts me more or most is the moral failure, because what we have seen on our screens day and night, there was I can't remember, but there was an intellectual recently who said somewhat it's easier to reach out to the pain of the Palestinian people in the middle of the night by, extending your arm to your bed table and grasp your phone and see what's going on in Palestine in the middle of the night. It's easier than grabbing a glass of water. And despite this, those who are in power seem to be impenetrable. And I ask myself, what kind of monsters are we? Because look at the other creators in the world. Look at the other earthlings. We are the only species who we kill each other's children. It's brutal when you think of it. It's brutal. We are so trapped in this concept of identity, religion, the color of the skin, our political credo. But your children are my children. Yeah, and my sounds idealistic and romantic, but it boils down to this: your children are my children, and we need to take care of each other. This is the essence of humanity.
Be human.
Voila.
Okay, another one. Who has the responsibility to wake that system? From you?
Everyone has a role to play. If there is one thing that Palestine is calling upon us to do, is to do everything you can. Everyone, according to he or she can, or he or she feels like, but everyone can do something. This is why, in a way, Palestine is reuniting us. I often saying, the keffiyeh and the knots, yeah. Everyone is a knot. And by uniting, by extending our arm to the other, we make a net. And this is it's powerful. Huh? Yeah, this is the net we need to move ahead as a humanity. Yes, there might be holes here and there, but we need to stand together as a human family. And I like to use this quote by Rabbi Alissa Weiss, used to say, solidarity is the political declination of love. Is really caring for the other. Is it there? Is it that vain or that idealistic? No, it's real. It's real. And I often think that this moment is I've read a lot about the first Intifada. I was just a child, but I do remember. You know what I remember of the first Intifada?
Yes.
The scenes of young Palestinians with the clothes of their 70s or 80s being beaten up in the middle of rural areas or in cities and towns and taken in jeeps by soldiers. So this I remember vividly this scene of a young Palestinian sitting on the ground, kneeling on the ground, and Israeli soldiers breaking his arm bones with their stones, and with a dog next to him. Things have not changed, have just gone worse. But during the first Intifada, this is what so it's something that marked my mind as a child, or Sabra Shatila. These are some of the first memories I have as a child of political things, or are connected to the Palestinian struggle. And what I've read of the Palestinian, and seems very similar, is that people were really helping each other, coming together and providing for one another. And this solidarity is also what I see happening right now. Lawyers coming together, helping pro bono, young people who have been assaulted by police officers or mistreated or falsely accused of anti-Semitism or kicked out of their universities.
University. When the world sleep, when you wrote that book, how did it make you feel?
Writing the book?
Writing the book and after you finish it?
Many feelings, but I'm someone who, there are different kind of characters in the world. But my mom used to say there are those who complain, those who complain and those who act.
And try to change.
I belong to the latter.
So for you, it's about doing something.
Yeah.
You are trying to do something, and this is as an act from you. So this is what makes you feel. So we
don't like the world order as is. We need to work to change it.
Okay, nice.
And it's change at every step. It's changing in everyday life, because from what we buy to where we put our money in a bank, how we travel I keep on telling people, stop using booking.com and Airbnb.
Exactly,
because they seem innocuous, but these are services that contribute to the economy of the occupation, or Volvo, Hyundai, Google, Microsoft, and others. Again, you cannot drop everything.
But you can try.
There is the need to build alternatives. Look at Upscroll. I keep on saying the Palestinians are genocided and they still try to improve the world we live in. Upscroll is, I understand in the beginning it might be more an echo chamber used for Palestine, but it's a censorship-free app. So sooner or later, others will travel, will migrate into it. We need these spaces. We need to create alternatives. For example, we need to create a system to assess genocide or apartheid-free investments. So there should be an investment score that allows us to see whether banks are ethical or not. And many of our savings, for those who still have a bank account, go into the weapons industry, which is the most, fruitful.
In your last report, you mentioned around 41 companies.
48 in the
48. They
Yeah.
are gaining profits from the genocides. But
Yeah.
you go directly and say it, and you mentioned a lot of big companies, and I believe it was very powerful. It's direct to the point. How did it go after that? Because now you are not against political systems or regimes or whatever. You are just with the big businesses now.
Look, what has happened is that after I named 48 companies, or 48 private entities, in fact, there is even the Norwegian pension fund, can you imagine, and universities and others, I've had a huge backlash while a lot of appreciation, a lot of follow-up from civil society, and I had two rounds of applauses at the Human Rights Council when I presented that report. So member states, there is a need to face the elephant in the room, which is those who really control the economy and including and can pressure other states into subservience. The cost has been immense for me in the sense that I've been sanctioned by the United States. And today is an incredible day for me because I think it's in the press already, but my daughter Elsie is suing Donald Trump's administration because of breach of the First Amendment and the pain we are all suffering as a family because of the sanctions against me. So I'm treated as a drug dealer, as a terrorist for writing a report. This is what people need to understand. I'm considered a threat by the United States and its allies, a threat to the global economy for having written a report exposing those who are profiting from the occupation. So not once of the facts I have alleged has been challenged, and still,
they go for sanctions.
Yeah. So look, I know that I'm putting myself, as a family, we are putting ourselves in the line. We are facing, the country that no one wants to face. And look, someone needs to do that.
Yeah. How old your daughter is?
She will be 13. She will be 13 in less than 10 days.
She's powerful like her mom. So if she's doing that, I believe that someone needs to stop. Everything is happening. But thank you for mentioning that, but I will not go further on that for your family for sure, as a respect. But it's something always I was thinking about. If any of the younger generation, like 20s, years old in the MENA region, care about international law and see everything is happening around them, why should they care? What they should try to do something or change? Because as you can see, we were discussing it, that people are doing whatever they want. There is no international law to apply on them, and it's selectively applied. So for that younger generation, what I feel, there is two scenarios, and what we watched and seen in the last 2 years, that some of the younger generation started to take change directly from the street and universities and doing everything, not in the Arab countries only, everywhere. No. They said, okay, we need to stop that. We are living in different world. This is not the world that we want to have, but there is another that, okay, I'm too tired of this emotionally, physically, morality, and we just leave it. We can't change anything. What do you say for them?
So it's, as you say, many will feel discouraged. Others feel that they can take it upon themselves. I want to say something really to the Palestinians, wherever they are, to the Palestinians under occupation, to those in refugee camps here in Jordan or in Syria, and they've gone through so much, or those in Lebanon, those in the diaspora, because every Palestinian carries Palestine as a root. There is the key somewhat in the...
It's like a fairy tale.
In the chest of...
It's like a fairy tale story always.
There is the key in the chest of drawers of the family, but there is a root of Palestine planted inside the heart of every Palestinian I've met. And this is something that cannot be uprooted. And to the Palestinians, I want to say something I said when I was in South Africa to the Nelson Mandela Foundation. However it goes, you Palestinians will not be relegated to as a footnote in a chapter of a tumultuous history. You will have written the page of this tumultuous history as the one who fought really and opened our eyes from within this system of this tyranny, this ultra-capitalist tyranny that puts profit over rights, because this is what it boils down to. What Palestinians, the reason Palestinians have been the victims of an ideology, and each ideologies are always dangerous, because at a certain point take over reason, take over rationality, take over values, take over feelings, take over meanings, like humanity. But they're also the victims of an economic and financial way of being of the world. This is why I'm saying there is a system profiting from the killing, the maiming of, and I want to give a precise example. Palantir, it's using both technology and surveillance. Yeah. And it has grown through collecting data from the despair of the Palestinians. They have accumulated data where Palestinians were running around amid violent bombing that were shattering homes, lives, bodies. They have accumulated data that allowed them to perfect emergency preparedness so that they could sell their programs to institutions. You see, it's the evil of this system, the evil within the system, because you cannot say, okay, we know that the Palestinians have suffered, but you know how powerful it is this for us. I mean, there is Yanis Varoufakis that has shared the testimony of some employee of Palantir who said, yeah, we know that the Palestinians were suffering, but you know that when you bomb a place like that, you know what people do? Yes, they run around, but they use their data. They use their phones, and we got so much information from it. What kind of monsters are we, guys? So, yeah.
Yeah. But from what I see, that you are optimistic person, you want to act and change. But as I told you, there's some younger people say, I lost it. I lost the trust on the system. What do you say for that?
Yeah, that this is, look, there are those who have the privilege to say, I've lost the trust in the system and that's it. Others, like the people in Palestine, don't have that privilege. Do you think that the Palestinians in Gaza or the West Bank or East Jerusalem or the Palestinians who have from the refugee camps who have continued to demand that UNRWA is protected and serves them as part of the international protection system that was created over 70 years ago is for nothing? No, they have used all the tools at their disposal, all the peaceful tools to have justice, to have what is due to them, what is owed to them. And I've learned so much from this, because Palestine eventually becomes a metaphor of our world, what is terribly unjust and what is just. And you decide. Again, as I said, there are people who whine and complain and do nothing, and other people who say, look, the system is fallacious and we need to act to change it. And I think of myself and my family, my team, and those the thousands or the hundreds of thousands I've met over the past 3 years. We belong to this part of the world who wants to change the system for the better, for everyone, not just for us.
For the whole world, not only for Palestine.
Of course, the effects will be felt all over.
My last question for you is:
if Palestine is not erased.
My last question is: how do you see the future? What could be coming? What can happen? Because now everything is just turn over. It's a couple of days. There is a huge shift the last year in the world and law system.
It looks very bad. I know it looks very bad. But sometimes it looks.
How do you see the future?
I mean, another say we have in my beautiful south of Italy is that it cannot get darker of midnight. And it's Sometimes you need to get really to the very bottom in order to have the strength to push yourself up.
Yes.
And it can go in both directions. It really depends on us. This is why I keep on telling people, we need to wake up. We need to wake up. We can do that. We are one. Together we can. Solidarity means solidum, being one piece.
Unit.
And we need to, those of us who do not hold huge financial capitals and the ambition through this to control the world, or those who do not hold algorithms and can alter and rewrite the narrative of the world, or those who do not hold weapons, don't control weapons and wars. We have nothing to gain from this thing, this intimidation-driven system that looks very much like a mafia. I mean, look at the Epstein files. I mean, they have revealed what underpins the system.
Internationally.
So, as the French would say, le roi est nu, the system is exposed.
Yeah.
So we need to stand together. And what do we need? We need justice, and we need the application of the law, human rights, treaties as they've been signed. This is the moral compass. It's the upholding the law for you, for me, and for those we don't even know.
The future for you, that it's always there is a light at the end, and after dark, the sun will go up.
Let me put it
So we need to be
otherwise.
optimistic, beside what's happening, and to work for it.
As Antonio Gramsci used to say, it's the pessimism of the reason. I understand all the problems that are there, but the optimism of the will. Being hopeful means being ready to act. Hope is not being passive.
Yeah,
Hope is feeling the strength to change. And so I think that together we change. So going back to the metaphor of the light, is not to fall, just not just the light at the end of the tunnel. I say the light out there is the sign that the system is cracking, but follow the light in you, because you need to unite with that light. And this is where we need to go. We need to unite with the others and just be light.
Hopefully that we can fix the system, and everyone will work together and be optimistic like you. But it's not, as you said, that to just be passive, I'm optimistic. Everything is going to change. No, we need to act. We need to work together. We need to have solidarity, as you said. And hopefully we're not changing the world just for Palestine. We want to change the world for everyone. We want the rights for everyone. We want the human rights for everyone.
Yeah.
At the end, I just want to end up with something that international law doesn't shout. It's documents. Documentation isn't justice, but it's where justice begins. Tonight wasn't about headlines. It was about how the system works and where it struggles, and power may delay accountability, but record matters. This was After the Story with Francesca Albanese. Thank you so much.
شكرا جزيلا ورمضان كريم.